practically every single so-called Islamic reformer, every Muslim thinker who had the future of Islamic world in mind and thought they were combating the influence, the withering influence of another civilization upon the religion, it was accepted by them. When you look at the writings of Muhammad Abdo, when you look at the writings of even Seyyed Qutb, I knew Seyyed Qutb personally when I was a young man at Harvard, the head of the Harvard Islamic Society, when I was invited by the American government to come to America. One afternoon we had a big debate about this matter. Badi'uzzaman Nursi, the famous Turkish thinker, whose follower Fethullah Gülen, now residing in Pennsylvania, has over 1 million followers. And I could go down the list. Even Sir Muhammad Iqbal, the most intelligent of these reformers, whom I usually call deformers, because they deformed without knowing it, the integral tradition of Islamic thought. And going down the line, they all thought that the great service they could render to Islam would be to combine Western technology with Islamic ethics. And to that end, many institutions were established. And it's not accidental that most of the extreme Islamic movements of the 20th century have arisen from people with an engineering background in the Islamic world. This is not by any means accidental. The humanities were cast aside as being irrelevant, and Western science and technology were taught, added to the Sharia with a very, very big vacuum in between. And nowhere does one see this more than in the Wahhabi world in Saudi Arabia, which for a while during the 1930s resisted, in fact, the open espousal of American and European technology. But between 1960 and 1980, we are witness to the largest transfer of technology from one civilization to another in the history of the world. What took place in the introduction of Western technology into Saudi Arabia without any intellectual resistance to what to do. In fact, there was no intellectual substance in order to resist, because everybody thought as long as you said your prayers at the right time and didn't drink wine, you were good Muslims, and the fact that everything else was coming in was something quite natural and normal. And this is not unique to Saudi Arabia. You have in the whole spectrum of Islamic thought, from the Islamic Republic of Iran to the Saudi Kingdom, from secularized Turkey to religious Sudan, and so forth and so on, everything in between, there's one common denominator, and that is a kind of worship of modern technology and science. I reside in the United States now. Therefore, I have the freedom to say things that many Muslim scholars living in the Islamic world would be afraid to say. I have made a scathing criticism in my own country of this new worship of science in place of God. Most Muslims really don't worship God, they worship modern technology. Without knowing it, unfortunately, they have the correct niyyah, they have the correct intention, but the net result is that. And that's why you get the latest gadgets of Western technology in the Islamic world so rapidly. That's why when you're circumambulating around the Kaaba, you hear cell phones ringing. I mean, that's just something unimaginable. But that's because of this background that was established, and which makes our task so much more difficult. Astaghfirullah.